The following program, NORML Show Live, is intended for responsible adults only. We advocate for the repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults. We discuss the science, culture, and controversy about America's marijuana laws. We do not advocate or encourage any illegal activity and advise all listeners to learn their state and federal marijuana laws by visiting NORML.org, NORML.org. Opinions and claims made by guests and advertisers of NORML Show Live are their own and do not necessarily reflect the philosophy and policies of NORML. Listener discretion is advised.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth. Hey!
Spanning the continent to bring you the truth about cannabis and marijuana law reform.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
From the promise of legalization.
And I think we need to rethink and decriminalize our marijuana laws.
To the agony of prohibition.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
The National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws presents
We love the earth.
NORML Show Live, Marijuana Nation. Now, here's your host, NORML's Outreach Coordinator, Radical Russ Belville.
All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to NORML Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation. We are glad to be here. It's Monday, March 15th, 2010, and it's got to be 420 somewhere in the world. I am having a great time here in the studio. We had to tear down to go to the Oregon NORML cardholders meeting this weekend on Saturday, so I'm kind of running behind, getting the studio all reset up. And, of course, daylight savings time happened, too, so I lost an hour out of my schedule there as well. So I am just frantic, just crazy here. Didn't even manage to get the effects loaded, but, you know, it doesn't matter. We got a great show for you today anyway. And joining us in our virtual studio all the way in Astoria, Oregon, my good friend and half-sister, Cannabis Carrie.
Hey, Russ. Nice chatting with you. How was your weekend?
Oh, frantic, busy. You know, Keith Stropp, the founder of NORML, was in town this weekend, so we got to hang out with Keith and had a couple of great dinners. Went out to dinner with Keith a couple of times and hung out at the Cannabis Cafe almost all weekend. So really, really busy. How about yourself?
Oh, I had a great time, too. It's really nice weather out here on the coast, and I got to see that the speech that Keith gave at the meeting, thanks to you streaming it. So that was really fun. It was like I was almost there.
Well, everybody else is going to get a chance to hear that speech and see it if you're watching the webcam as well. We've got those videos. I just barely got them made up and compressed and saved here for the show today. But you will be hearing Keith Stropp's speech from this Saturday at the Oregon NORML cardholders meeting, as well as Oregon NORML Executive Director and Cannabis Cafe founder Madeline Martinez, NORML Legal Committee member John Lucy with some great tips on how to stay legal, Oregon NORML's legal counsel Paul Loney as well, and myself. I managed to get up on stage and give a few topics to the folks there at the meeting as well, stuff that you've heard here on the NORML Show Live, but they haven't had a chance to hear, so great stuff. Stay tuned for that at the bottom of the hour. Also, at 20 after, we get to our Daily Toker Tunes. Today is Roots Monday, and Carrie will have a tune for us. We'll get to that right after the break, and also we've got our hemp headlines that we play right after this first break. Carrie, what are we looking forward to in today's headlines?
Well, Russ, we report on at least one of these a month. We have a former professional athlete who got busted over the weekend. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go to Illinois, where I think a bit of reefer madness is settling into their brains as they're pushing for some strict regulation. And also, we've done quite a few stories on K2. Well, now the chemist who developed that compound is speaking out. So we're going to hear what he has to say about the fake marijuana.
Oh, we'll have to hear about that. That's really taken root in the Midwest, where they have trouble getting a hold of good marijuana, so they're turning to this K2, untested, unknown quantity. We don't know how safe it may or may not be, so I'll be interested to hear from that. Thank you very much, Carrie, and we'll get to you right after this first break. This is NORML Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation. See you in just a minute.
You're listening to NORML Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation.
Hello, I'm Paul Stanford, from the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, or THCF. Medical marijuana is legal in 13 states today, and THCF has clinics in 8 of those states. Our doctors help qualified patients obtain an authorization for medical marijuana in their state. Patients are eligible for medical marijuana with a history of either severe chronic pain and or nausea, cancer, AIDS or HIV, hepatitis, glaucoma, seizure disorders like epilepsy, chronic muscle spasms such as in multiple sclerosis or asthma, neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's, and gastrointestinal disorders like IBS or Crohn's disease. If you or someone you know has one of these conditions, our doctors will help you obtain a permit for medical marijuana. THCF Medical Clinics has offices in Washington State, Oregon, California, Colorado, Hawaii, Nevada, Montana, and now Michigan. Call 1-800-723-0188 or go to the web at hemp.org or 1-800-723-0188.
Been busted? Need a lawyer? Call the NORML Legal Committee for an attorney near you. Find one at NORML.org. Remember, attorneys are cheaper than a lifelong criminal drug record.
It's that freedom. I'm free to do it.
Medical marijuana, industrial hemp, consumer cannabis. It's time for this week's NORML News with Cannabis Carrie.
A former NBA player for the Utah Jazz was arrested in Salt Lake County after police pulled him over and discovered he had several bags of marijuana hidden in his butt.
What? Wait, whoa. Hidden in his butt?
That's what the story says,
All right.
Russ. Let me finish.
All right,
27-year-old Robert Whaley was a passenger in a vehicle Thursday when police stopped the car around 4:30 a.m. When police asked him to identify himself, he gave a fake name and alias, but since he was in Utah, of course, he was recognized by the police. After discovering that he had a warrant out for his arrest for a probation violation, police apprehended him and searched him, discovering several small bags of marijuana tucked in between his buttocks. He was taken to jail and is being held on $10,000 bond. Russ?
Okay, so you're an exceptionally tall black man in Utah. You get pulled over by the police and you give a fake name, and you've got baggies of marijuana in your butt cheeks. I don't know if that counts for Stupid Stoner Story of the Year, but it's pretty early in the year, but that's pretty stupid. I can't believe this story. I don't even know where to go with this one, Carrie. I don't even know what angle to take. Do you have any ideas?
No, just you could tell people that once again a professional athlete has chosen to use cannabis as his drug of recreation instead of alcohol, I guess. He didn't have Budweiser shoved up there.
I guess a long neck wouldn't be that comfortable, would it? No, yeah, but I guess there's that point too. Yeah, that you know, the athletes that we find, you know, all over in every spectrum of sports, you know, from the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. The best pitcher in Major League Baseball, Tim Lincecum, was busted with pot. The greatest swimmer in the world, Michael Phelps. The man who ran the fastest indoor sprint this year, you know, 60-meter sprint, he got popped with marijuana. Top sumo wrestlers, lots of guys in the World Wrestling Entertainment. If you go for the pro wrestling, even amateur wrestling or you know, the Greco-Roman, you know, real type wrestling, those guys are getting popped for marijuana. Let's not even start with skiing and snowboarding as far as marijuana use goes. It always just goes to show that these people that are in the top physical condition and whose paychecks depend on not having hangovers and not having adverse effects from their recreational drug use, they always seem to turn to marijuana. It just seems to be that's the way it always goes. I think there's something to be learned there.
In Illinois, there is a push for the General Assembly to classify blunt wrappers as drug paraphernalia. Now, blunt wrappers are sold in head shops and are tobacco leaves that are used to roll up marijuana into blunts or large brown joints. In an increasingly familiar team, police and clergy groups are backing the ban. Chicago Bishop Larry Trotter, the pastor at Sweet Holy Spirit Church, was quoted by media, "Having this product in mainstream stores is like having drug pushers in our neighborhoods. Blunt wraps are an indefensible product marketed to children and entirely identified with illegal drug use." Trotter said he will circulate petitions in 50 different Cook County churches to garner support for the legislation and plans to lead a contingent of ministers and community leaders to urge lawmakers to pass the bill. Trotter just doesn't stop at the tobacco leaf rolling papers. He says he will ask the liquor store across the street from his church to stop selling mini cigars, which he says are often emptied out of the tobacco and filled with cannabis. Mike Mohad, the manager of Fitzgerald's Liquor, said that he would stop selling the 85-cent cigars if the church leaders asked him, citing his desire to get along with the community. The anti-blunt wraps legislation is being sponsored by State Senator Kwame Raoul and State Representative Art Turner. Some cities like Boston have already prohibited the sale of blunt wraps.
Well, yeah, where does this stop? Someone in the chat room just mentioned, what are they going to do next? Ban the Swisher Sweets? And, you just said it. They're going to, the liquor store owner next door is willing to ban those as well. My problem with the blunt wraps isn't that they're drug paraphernalia. It's that they're tobacco. That's my problem with the blunt wraps. We've talked to Dr. Mitch so many times about how everything bad you could ever get from tobacco smoking is exacerbated when you add that with cannabis, right? All the bad effects of tobacco as far as, emphysema, cancer, all of these terrible effects are amplified when you add cannabis to it. So that's where I wouldn't even, go near the blunt wraps. But that said, to declare that as drug paraphernalia, again, the next step is that they ban the little mini cigars, the little cigarillos. And then the next thing that'll happen is then people will start buying regular cigars and emptying those out. And the regular cigars will be more expensive, but they'll get a hold of them anyway. Instead of trying to ban all of the things that people might use to smoke marijuana, how about just making cannabis legal and letting them smoke it? Okay, that is always the most obvious solution to this problem, but they just can't wrap their minds around the idea that an adult might be, better off smoking cannabis than smoking tobacco, which is completely legal. Let's get off of this idea of banning joints and pipes and papers and rollers and all of the accoutrement of cannabis smoking and do the sensible thing and just legalize the cannabis smoking.
Now, we've covered the issues of fake pot before, that incense that you can buy in truck stops in some parts of the country and online all over the nation. Now we are hearing from the chemist, John W. Huffman, who developed the JWH-018 compound as a tool in the lab to improve health. Huffman is a Clemson University chemist who is speaking out about the substance now gaining popularity and even banned in some states. Synthetic marijuana-related compounds he painstakingly developed over 2 decades to study their biological effects and ultimately develop medications to help AIDS, multiple sclerosis, and chemotherapy patients is now a growing concern among lawmakers in some area that are getting reports of bad reactions to the product. The 77-year-old chemist is a nationally known researcher who has won the National Institute of Health Senior Scientist Award, and his work has been published in scientific journals. Huffman said he first learned through emails from a German blogger and some European chemists that 2 of his compounds were being used in some fake marijuana products under names such as K2 and Spice. He is concerned that it could hurt people and urges people to not be so stupid as to use the fake cannabis. The compounds developed in research funded by the National Institute on Drug Abuse almost continuously since 1984 aren't meant for human consumption, Huffman said. The effects on humans haven't been studied, and the compounds should not be used as recreational drugs and could be toxic. Huffman and his research team have developed more than 450 synthetic cannabinoid compounds in order to help understand diseases and provide information for development of medications. Cannabinoids include THC, but also other substances that interact with the cannabinoid receptors in the brain and other organs. The receptors play a role in regulating appetite, nausea, mood, pain, and inflammation, and may be involved in the development of conditions such as osteoporosis, liver disease, and some kinds of cancer. Huffman says he gets angry when he's blamed for the harmful side effects of the compounds that he developed to further scientific study that ultimately could improve the quality of life for millions of people, but just not for recreational use. He holds users responsible for their own actions, and he has testified before Missouri lawmakers considering outlawing the product.
Only prohibition could create something like JWH-018. Why is the scientist going through and building 50 or so different synthetic cannabinoids for research purposes? Because they can't use the regular cannabinoids for research purposes. They're not allowed to grow medical quality marijuana for testing. They're not allowed to get it from the government. The government controls the only source at the University of Mississippi, so it's easier for a high school kid to get good weed than a doctor or a scientist. That's why they have to create these synthetic cannabinoids. Now, as far as people using the synthetic cannabinoids, why go for something fake if the real thing is better? Well, because they won't let you get a hold of the real thing. Marijuana, of course, is prohibited in all 50 states, and it makes it very difficult to get. And even if you can get it, we have an entire industry that is built on drug testing people, pre-employment or even during employment, and people have to pass those drug tests to be able to get a job. Now, of course, the really harmful drugs like cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin, those types of things flush out of your system really quickly, to the point where you could do those on a bender on a Friday night and by Monday or Tuesday probably be able to pass the screen. Unfortunately, the one that is not so bad for you, in fact, in many ways good for you, cannabis, is the one that hangs around in your body the longest. Interesting, isn't it, that our body fights to get rid of all of the bad drugs, metabolites so quickly, and yet holds on to cannabis so long? Isn't that interesting? The drug that is the least harmful, the one that is the least problem for society, is the one that stays in the drug test the longest, to the point where people can fail drug tests for up to 4 or 5 weeks after they've stopped using cannabis. We've even seen cases where people stop using cannabis, pass a few drug tests, 3, 4, 5 drug tests, and then fail one even though they're not using cannabis because of the strange way the body eliminates cannabis slowly over time and not consistently. So the whole notion of drug testing people for cannabis is ludicrous. It doesn't prove any sort of impairment or any sort of problem with their life. But because of those drug tests, people are motivated to try things like K2. Because the JWH018 molecule doesn't create a THC COOH molecule as its metabolite. It doesn't create carboxy-THC. It creates a completely different metabolite, which means if you use the K2, you can pass the drug tests. The drug tests don't test for the metabolite of JWH018. Now, they could go ahead and come up with a new drug test that tests for JWH018. That'd be a whole lot of money to pull that off. But then there's another, 53 different, 54, 50-odd cannabinoid, synthetic cannabinoids they've made. So people will just move on to JWH019 or 020 or 021 or whatever the next one happens to be. There will always be some chemist making up some synthetic cannabinoid that gets people high, but doesn't make you fail the drug test. It's a losing battle on the drug testing side, just as it's a losing battle on the eradication side of cannabis. It's a plant. We like it. So long as there is a demand, there will always be a supply. So long as there is prohibition, it will always get more potent. So long as there are drug tests, there will always be synthetic ways to either beat the test or a new cannabinoid, synthetic cannabinoid created that doesn't show up on the test. The war on drugs is over, folks, and we're winning it. Science is winning it. Knowledge is winning it. Education is winning it. Communication is winning this war on drugs. It's only a matter of time, folks. We are getting there, and with your help, we're well on our way. Thank you, Carrie, for the headlines. We appreciate that, and that sound means that it is time for us to take a break. So sit back, relax, fire up your favorite one. We'll see you in a few minutes with your Daily Toker Tunes.
It's 20 after the hour, and we have to take a short break, if you know what I mean. Please support these sponsors who support NORML Show Live.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would send you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
Law420.com.
Hello, I'm Russ Belville, Outreach Coordinator for NORML. In my job, I read literally hundreds of headlines each month involving nonviolent, productive citizens whose lives are ripped apart by a marijuana or drug arrest. Many citizens could avoid arrest by refusing police searches and remaining silent, but police are well trained to confuse and intimidate. That's why you have a right to speak to an attorney before answering any police questions. I hope you never need to exercise that right, but if you do, make your first call to the law offices of John C. Lucy IV. John Lucy is an accomplished criminal defense attorney with expertise in Oregon's medical marijuana law. John Lucy understands and respects cannabis and drug consumers of all backgrounds. Call John C. Lucy IV at 503-227-6000 or visit in downtown Portland. Address available at law420.com. That's John C. Lucy IV at 503-227-6000 or visit law420.com today.
There is a peaceful solution called a peace revolution. And now let's take back America.
Hi, this is Willie Nelson. Like millions of freedom-loving Americans, I'm a marijuana smoker, and I don't think that should be any of the government's business. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the responsible use of marijuana. The next time you light up, take the time to let your elected officials know how you feel. It's time we legalize marijuana and stop treating marijuana smokers like criminals. For more information on how you can help legalize marijuana, please contact NORML at NORML.org.
It's time for your Daily Toker Tunes, the best in 420-friendly music from all genres that uplifts, entertains, and informs the public. Our pod-safe music is donated by freedom-loving musicians who support our goal of ending adult marijuana prohibition. Today we bring you tunes for Roots Monday, our celebration of the music that evolved into the popular modern music of today. We pick the best of blues, country, folk, and jazz with a 420 feel and serve it up for you every Monday. Brought to you by PlanetFantastic.com and Bella Blue Tie-Dye Fashions. If you'd like to submit your song to be played on NORML Show Live, send it to us at stash@normal.org. Now, here's some great independent marijuana music for today's Daily Toker Tunes. All right, time to head back to Astoria, Oregon. Our wonderful newsreader, Cannabis Carrie, she wears many hats, and another hat is she brings us our Roots Monday tune. So, Carrie, tell us all about it.
Well, it's a little strange today, but since this week we celebrate St. Patrick's Day on Wednesday, I felt it fitting to introduce some Celtic music for our Roots Monday tune. Now, although Davy Simons isn't from Ireland, in a little shout-out to Seaweedy, he's Canadian. But I feel that today's song captures the genre quite nicely. The original Canadian Celtic cowboy is joined by his wife on this tune, Angel Firestar. She plays the harp. Now, this song is mystical and funny and weird, and I have no idea if it has anything to do with cannabis, but a song about a green man seems like we should take it and run with it. So please enjoy today's toker-friendly tune, and may the spirit of St. Paddy's Day bring a green man to help you celebrate all things Irish and all things green. Here is the Canadian Celtic cowboy with Green Man, Russ.
All right, Green Man from
my
the
great,
Celtic
great,
cowboy.
greats came
Enjoy.
from a great land. So there I met a lady and I thought I'd win her hand. But a spirited had got her. I was jealous, understand, of the green man, green man. The green man, the spirit of the land. When you're walking through the kitchen, does he take you by the hand? When you're mopping up the floor, does he hold a dustpan? Green man, green man. No, I gave her a ring and she wore it not. Instead she wore a stem tied in a knot. She laughed when I cursed, and I cursed a lot at the green man, green man. La la la, la la la, la la la, green man, green man. I joined her green party, baby, there I learned why she frustrated me at every turn. When I walk, she'd run, she'd tan, I'd burn. Sun helped, green man, green man. One day I took a course in chemistry, made of fertilizer, cheap as can be. Need a nurse underwater, this DDT. Beat that, green man, green man. La la la, la la la, la la la. Green man, green man. Well, the green man lost all his bees. The eagle's eggs broke up in his trees. Didn't mean to trip you up, I got on my knees. Forgive me, green man, green man. So now he ran and he ran and he ran and he ran. When he paused, he knew pollution got the upper hand. She never stopped till he left the land. I miss you, green man, green man. La la la, la la la, la la la.
Very interesting tune for Roots Monday, Green Man. That'll be up available at our blog, stash.normal.org, in case you'd like to download it for your own music player.
It only comes twice a day, but I don't care. It's 420 somewhere.
All right, it's our time to take a look at NORML's Cannabis Community Calendar, which you can find at norml.org/calendar. On today, Monday, March 15th, we've got Oakland County NORML having their meeting in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. Check out minormal.org for details. We've got a CPC meeting in the Encanto Community Planning Valencia Park Library in California. Also a CPC meeting at Mira Mesa in San Diego, California. Check out our California NORML chapters for more details on those. On Tuesday, March 16th, we've got a Marijuana is Safer press conference and rally for St. Patrick's Day. Big news on this one. This is Tuesday with our newly rechristened Empire State NORML, formerly New York NORML, meeting at City Hall in downtown Manhattan to declare that marijuana is safer than alcohol. High noon the day before St. Patrick's Day. Also, City University of New York Queens College professor Harry Levine and Dr. Julie Holland, who has been a guest on this show, will both be there at a lunchtime press conference. Also, NORML's Alan St. Pierre will be in Manhattan as well. We'll be setting up a live photo op at the NORML Times Square ad with our Money Tree ad. We're going to attempt to get Alan on the show live while he's down there in Manhattan, so stay tuned tomorrow for that. Also on Tuesday, CPC meeting at North Bay Community Planning Group in San Diego at the San Diego Community College campus. The Kalamazoo Area Compassion Club in Kalamazoo, Michigan, they will be meeting as well on Tuesday. Check out kalamazooareacompassionclub.org for details. And more CPC meetings in California, one in Claremont, San Diego, Claremont Friendship Center. Another CPC meeting for North Park Way in San Diego at the North Park Christian Fellowship, and another CPC meeting at the Tierra Santa Rec Center in San Diego. All of these, you can find more information at SoCal NORML, Southern California NORML, at normalsc.org. And to get the websites, email addresses, and more for all of these events, check out the NORML calendar of events, the Cannabis Community Calendar, which you can find at norml.org/calendar. We'll be right back. We're going to be playing some video from the Oregon NORML cardholders meeting that took place this Saturday. Oregon NORML is the largest NORML chapter in the country, in the world, or even the known galaxy. So check that out. We'll be hearing speeches from Executive Director Madeline Martinez. NORML founder Keith Stropp flew in from Washington, D.C. to give a special speech. I've got a speech as well as two lawyers from the NORML Legal Committee, John Lucy and Oregon NORML's legal counsel, Paul Loney, will all be speaking. Check out these videos. Very, very informative and very inspirational if you're trying to start a NORML chapter in your neck of the woods. Check them out right here at the bottom of the hour after these messages.
Starfish Designs, makers of the original Gandalf.
I'm Radical Russ, and when I want to relax, I always have my 17-inch long original Gandalf from Starfish Designs nearby. The hand-blown borosilicate glass is strong and easy to clean, and the design is sleek and sophisticated. Starfish Designs are available from Bend, Oregon at a glass retailer near you. For locations, call 541-788-GLASS. That's 541-788-4527.
If I were to tell you that in America, right now, over 1 million children sell marijuana, what would you think? Would you think that any public policy that creates over 1 million teenage marijuana dealers needs to be re-examined and possibly amended? You would not be alone. The members of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, aka NORML, have been working since 1970 to reform marijuana laws such that responsible adults, not children, sell and use marijuana. Isn't it high time to reform America's misguided marijuana laws? This is Alan St. Pierre, Executive Director of NORML in Washington, D.C. Only concerned citizens can effectively end the federal government's nearly 70-year-old prohibition on responsible adult marijuana sales and use. Want to know more about how you can help? Contact us at NORML, toll-free, 888-67-NORML, or by visiting the organization's popular and informative webpage at NORML, NORML.org.
All right, welcome back, everyone. 31 after the hour, we're going to pull up some video here. This is from the Oregon NORML cardholders meeting, and this meeting featured the regular stuff that goes on in the cardholders meeting, which is basically the giving away of clones, hundreds of plant starts for medical marijuana patients, as well as raffles away of some vegging plants and some medicine. It was really informative and very exciting. Let me start you off with a taste of Madeline Martinez, the executive director. This is Madeline at the meeting. Oh, hold on. We're going to have to get that sound up here for us. Give us just a second. Trying some new technology here. One moment, please. One more time. Let's try that again. Oh, hold on. We're going to have to get that sound up here for us.
This is a big deal, you guys. Today is the 4th month of the Cannabis Cafe.
One more time.
We're still surviving. Thanks to all of you for supporting it. And I cannot say enough about the volunteer support that we have. You guys rock! And those of you who signed up to volunteer and didn't get a phone call, we're still busy. I'm telling you, we're trying to do so much, and we do need your help, so don't get discouraged. Angela's here, and somebody's going to swamp her right now, or some of you. Angela, stand up for a minute so they can see you. This is Angela, and she's my assistant. Because, wow. So, that's the big deal. We're getting ready for so much. We have the Global Cannabis March coming up. If anybody wants to have a booth there, they need to speak to Scott Gordon. Right here. Scott. He is our volunteer and vendor director. No, we got a volunteer director. I'm confused. He's our vendor director and our hemp. So if you want anything to do with that event, I'm going to expect each and every one of you to come to that event. If you want to get high, you're going to have to get high later. Okay? Because I used to say, if you want to get high, stay home, but you can't stay home. We own the streets of Portland that day, folks. We marched with a complete police escort. Motorcycles, cars, and we run the streets of Portland, so you got to be there. Because you know what we're trying to do with our objective is to show them how many of us there really are. You know, I'm a proud Mexicana, and I got to tell you, when they messed with us about immigration, our asses went to Salem. In the droves, thousands of us. And we are called the cockroach people, and I'm not saying it, but when you get Mexicans mad, they're there. Alright? And I need you to be there. Alright? All the time people say to me, and I've seen it, we have every branch of the military represented in this room today, I bet you. Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, you see what I'm saying? Marines! I said, no, it's the Cannabis Legion, alright? That's what it is, and we're going to change stuff, but only if you get up. Put the joint down, step away from the bomb. Okay, because that bomb will do damage to you, you won't move. So I need you to get up and put it down for a little bit, just for a little while. and run over to your phone and make a phone call. Send an email. Send a postcard. We have postcards here. If we found them, I'm going to go look for those postcards right now. And what those postcards will do is they will make a difference. People say, no. One person can't make a difference. But we all have one small voice. Together, we are a giant roar that can shake the halls of Congress. But you need to get involved. You need to get involved in the march. You need to get involved in all the events we have this year. We're going to have Hempstock coming up, which is a great event out at, where are we? Kelly Point Park. Beautiful, where the rivers meet. It's sacred land. You got to come see it. It's like Bambi. It's the meadow, and it's all stoners. All the time, all weekend. And on that week, it's September 9th, we're having the NORML conference. Yes, baby, right here in River City. So if you're not online, you can go online and check us out, or look to us for some information, and we'll be putting up a bulletin board shortly. All right, folks, I've mentioned some of the things, and they're going to get mentioned again, but let's run through this. I want to introduce your board of directors. Really exciting times for us all. Anna Diaz, right here. Here she is. So, you can't give her a title. Okay, Paul Loney. There he is. Legal director. These are athletes out of trouble all the time. Linda Mason back here handling information. The Elsters. John and Renee Belster. John is our webmaster. And Tiffany guys, all around the good guys. And then we have Renee Belster here, who's our volunteer coordinator. Yeah, she does a great job. If you want to be a volunteer at Hempstock, we need some people in our symposium. Yes, Oregon NORML is tasked with pulling together the educational part. Isn't that great? Yeah. My dream is to replace DARE in the schools. And we're going to do it. Okay, so we have, and then I introduced Scott Gordon, but let me tell you one more time. Scott Gordon, baby. And then I have, Jennifer Alexander's our new. Come on up here, girly girl. She's out of the closet now, huh? She wrote a kick-ass letter to Rob Gordon. So I want her to tell you a little bit about this letter before we go on. Because, Larry Kirk, there he is. He helps every day at Cannabis Cafe to get this place running. And to keep it running and to keep everybody happy. His famous saying, I said, how you doing there? He goes, I could be better, but I don't know how. When you go to the Cannabis Cafe, it's all day euphoria. You know what I mean? It's the happiest place on earth. It really, really is. Wait, let me one more thing. I need you, John Lucy. Yeah, he is a NORML member and does a lot of work again protecting our asses. And so, the beat goes on. Did I miss anybody? Russ Belvin, you don't want to hear about my story. He is no longer on the Oregon NORML, formerly of the Oregon NORML Board of Directors. Yeah. Formerly known as... Don't get it started, right? Don't get the Indian mad. But anyway, we're not going to say anything about that. He is now the NORML chapter coordinator, outreach for the whole nation. He just so many things. He's a man of everything, a renaissance man. And can sing in his spare time. So anyway, I want you to know that he's here and he's going to speak to you. And then, of course, you're going to hear from the grand poobah himself, Papa NORML, Keith Strong! Great foundation that we can come through town like a tank now. Thanks to all of your memberships. I'm pretty sure we've exceeded 2,000, right? Yeah. Yeah, so we actually are the largest chapter in the nation. And Rusty says we're the largest in the known galaxy. So, pretty damn impressive, huh? So thank you guys. Okay. I would like Keith Straught to come up here. If you can't run to the big dog, stay on the porch, okay? Because this is normal. Yeah, normal. We're not going to stop with medical marijuana. We're going to move on to Keith Straub's dream. Legalization, normalization, that's what we wanted to go for, and that's what we're going for. Again, Papa, Keith Straub.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the responsible use of marijuana by adults, and it should be of no interest or concern to the government. There's nothing wrong with smoking pot.
Amen.
We need to get up, stand up, light up, and let the world know how we feel. What you folks are doing here reinforces the importance of coming out of the closet. We have to overcome the negative stereotypes that a lot of our elected officials still have, and we have to let our own people know that they can survive coming out of the closet. There are awkward moments for all of us, I'm sure, and I'm sure all of you. But I think perhaps the most important single thing about this experiment on at the Cannabis Cafe, and by the way, just as an aside, I think it is the most important political project going on in America today. And and as Russ would say, in the entire universe. Is that right? By the way, let me take a moment before I get too carried away with the message I know you folks already have heard. But I want to say how impressed I am with Oregon NORML and what they're doing. I know that includes Madeline's leadership, it includes Anna, it includes, for a long time, Russ, until we stole him away at the National. It certainly includes John Lucy and Paul Looney, the attorneys who've done enormous work here. But it also includes all of you people who have allowed this experiment to work and proven to those who figured that if we ever legalized marijuana, the sky was going to fall, that people wouldn't get up and go to work in the morning, or they wouldn't raise their kids. There have been some enormous stereotypes built up over the last 75 years. And the only way we overcome those is to come out of the closet and let our elected officials and our non-smoking peers understand that we're good people. We work hard. We raise families. We pay taxes. We contribute to our communities. We are good citizens in every way. But when we relax in the evening, a lot of times we prefer to smoke a joint instead of drinking alcohol. I'm actually bi-druggable. I guess it's my generation. When I was younger, I drank alcohol. So what I've learned to do is, when I'm home at least, I watch the news every night. And I pour myself a glass of wine and I roll a joint. And I enjoy the news. And, for me, smoking marijuana is more than getting high, honestly. And I know it is for you people because you're patients. And as I think Martina said earlier, it's important for patients to be at the front of the line. We understand that. You really have to have your medicine. Some people it's symptoms, some people it's curative, but it's damn important. So, and it doesn't have the side effects that pharmaceuticals have, even if they help you. So I understand how important the medical use is. But as Madeline indicated, we really are about a bigger concept. We think there should be no penalties at all for the personal use of marijuana, and it doesn't matter why you use it. It's none of the government's damn business. safe and secure environment where consumers can get their marijuana. I would rather not deal with the black market. Sometimes you get ripped off, sometimes it's dangerous. Now, the truth is, I can't complain. I've had pretty good luck here. But nonetheless, I think in the end, what we all agree is we need some kind of a legally regulated system where consumers can buy their marijuana in a safe and secure environment. So, if we use the states the way they were intended as social laboratories. That's what our forefathers said. I believe within 5 years, we will have 2, 3, maybe 4 states that will actually have legalized marijuana. I think that all states, maybe except a couple of ignorant southern states, I'm sorry, they will have stopped arresting smokers. But I mean, I think in probably California, perhaps Oregon, perhaps Washington, perhaps Massachusetts, we've had 6 states this year that had considered legalization and taxation bills. Folks, 5 years ago, that was unthinkable. It was considered crazy, off the scale. Well, it isn't now because they need the money. But I don't much care about the motivation. As long as they will agree with the basic position that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the responsible use of marijuana, then as far as I'm concerned, we're friends and colleagues. But I'm never again going to vote for a candidate for office who thinks that I should go to jail. And that's what you all have to do. If elected officials understand that instead of being afraid of being defeated because they're honest about marijuana policy, that unless they're honest, they're going to be defeated, then we win. And as one of the early speakers said, I think, Madeline, we have more living Americans today who have smoked than who have not. So we have the political strength, if we can simply exercise it effectively, to win this issue and to win it soon. But we have to take the pledge. I will never again vote for a candidate for office who wants to treat me like a criminal. If we do that, within 2 election cycles, I guarantee you, we will have marijuana legalized every place. Thank you, folks. Let's legalize marijuana.
Key stop at the Oregon NORML cardholders meeting. It's just happened this Saturday. What a great man. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more from the cardholders meeting.
He makes you proud to be normal.
You're listening to NORML Show Live, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Ever wonder how often to change your bong water? The most effective method for baking pot brownies? The best destinations for a ganja getaway? How to hide herb in your car? Whether to grow your own? How precisely to legalize it? Or how something as wonderful as marijuana ever got to be illegal in the first place? Finally, you can find all these answers and much more in the official High Times Pot Smoker's Handbook, featuring 420 things to do when you're stoned. Since 1974, High Times Magazine has covered marijuana in all its aspects and wonders, from cultivation to legalization to the herb's enduring and exalted place in popular culture. Packed with inside information, the official High Times Pot Smoker's Handbook rolls all of this collected wisdom together into a single indispensable ganja guide, including an entertaining look at marijuana's history, profiles of herb-friendly travel destinations and festivals, favorite potluck recipes from the High Times staff, smoking skills, advocacy and activism, essential marijuana movies and songs, profiles of famous cannabis strains, comprehensive growing information, celebrity endorsements, and much more. This is truly, finally, the ultimate guide to green living.
Which of you are ready to admit to having used marijuana in the past? And they want us to go around and ask each of you. Senator Kerry, yes or no? Yes. Okay. Senator Edwards? Yes. Senator Lieberman?
Well, I have a reputation for giving unpopular answers at Democratic debates. I never use marijuana. Sorry.
I think you'd probably be a lot cooler if you had, Senator.
Smoke a little pie.
All right, welcome back to the show. 50 after the hour.
Everything will be just fine.
Give you some more video here from the Oregon NORML cardholders meeting. This is going to feature two attorneys from the NORML Legal Committee. Paul Loney is the Oregon NORML Legal Counsel. We'll begin with him, followed by John Lucy, who is with the NORML Legal Committee and practicing here in Portland, Oregon. And time permitting, we'll play my speech as well from the Oregon NORML Cardholders meeting. This was just this Saturday, March 13th in Portland, Oregon.
Anyway, okay, here we go. I've got our next speaker, who is Paul Loney, our legal director. Yeah, Paul, words that ring in my mind whenever I go, what would Paul say? Like Gandhi or something. I say to myself, he said to me, do not create evidence that I have to go try to defend. Because I'm going to be pissed. So, on that note, Paul Loney!
Hello, folks. Again, it's a nice day out there, and last couple of weeks we've been reminding you that you cannot consume in public. As much as you like to, this nice sunny day, walk down the street or to sit on your front porch and light a joint, you can't do that. You lose protections of the medical marijuana program if you do it in public. And that's, so you'll be risking $1,000 fine, losing your driver's license, and showing up in court, or hiring John or me to show up in court for you and begging to keep your driver's license. So don't consume in public as much as you would like to. So that's the, sorry to harsh a mellow on that, but please don't. As much as John and I like work, we don't want to have to represent you on that. So, but it also is not creating evidence. But one little caveat to that, always have your medical marijuana card on you. Never leave home without it. So in case you have something in your pocket, or you thought you cleaned out your backpack and there's a little glass jar in there or something, so you have to have your card on you when you're away from your home. So don't leave home without your card. So I'm just going to keep this short, because I know Scott appreciates that. But remember, there's three little sayings I want people to practice every day when they're brushing your teeth in front of the mirror. So I'll say it first. I want folks to repeat after me. The first one is, am I free to go, officer? Am I free to go, officer? I do not consent to any searches. I do not consent to any searches. I wish to speak to my attorney. I wish to speak to my attorney. Yeah, that's it, folks, because again, if an officer approaches you, it's all you have to say. You don't have to answer their questions. They may look at you really strange, but they're trained to get information out of you that you don't want to give them. So if you keep repeating these three things over and over and over, then you'll be fine, and you won't be calling John around. So thank you.
All right, now we're going to hear from NORML Legal Committee member John Lucy.
You're still running the camera, aren't you, Russ?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Okay, everybody, a couple questions. Anybody know what's in this bag? No. Why do you not know what's in this bag? Good. Now, what if this bag is not over this and it's sitting next to you in your car? Yes. Okay. And can anybody guess if this is more than an ounce or less than an ounce? More. What does that mean?
Felony.
Okay. Just so you know, to play on what Paul just spoke about, you also need to be aware within the city, and within most cities in the state, if you do live in the metro, pretty much everywhere is within 1,000 feet of a public school. Okay? And that means that joint isn't now a violation, it's a misdemeanor. And that means the cop can arrest you. Okay? So, now in Portland, they really don't do that very often. Honestly, unless you're in Old Town trying to buy crack, they're really not interested in school. But Oregon City, Hillsborough, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Washington County really, really, really hates marijuana. So, if you're in a city and you smoke a joint in public, you could be arrested because cops do know that it's a misdemeanor if it's within 1,000 feet and it's in a public place. And a lot of patients don't know that. They're walking around. They think, oh, what's the worst that can happen? I'll just get a ticket. And I get a phone call and somebody's like, everybody said it was just a violation if I had less than an ounce. And it's like, could you see a school? Was there a yellow sign? School children on it? Did you see one of those? Well, yeah. Okay. That's an issue. Second issue I'm seeing, guns. Guns and drugs don't mix. I love the Second Amendment, personally. It's in the Constitution. I firmly believe in it. I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but if it's in the Constitution, I'm a criminal defense lawyer, I will defend it till the bitter end. If you get rid of the Constitution, so be it. But as long as there's a Constitution, I will defend it. Okay? But 5-year federal minimum mandatory sentencing for firearms in the commission of a felony drug offense. Guns and drugs do not mix. If they do mix, you're going to be calling me or Paul. Understand that. Right now, I'm dealing with cases where people are looking at going away for a very, very long time. Longer than I talk to people and they're like, well, how much time am I looking at, John? Well, you're in Multnomah County, you had 6 pounds, it's your first offense. I know the DA, we talked, he's pretty good with it as long as you'll cop to it. You'll do 15 days on the weekends. You'll have to go and watch TV at the courthouse. It's not really that bad, honestly. It's better than my job some Saturdays and Sundays. So, anyway, that's great. But now you mix firearms, and you mix those things up, and now I'm talking to people about, you're going to do 5 years. And you're not going to do 5 years in the local, you're not going to do 5 years in Oregon, you're going to do 5 years in a federal prison, and you're going to do it day for day. You're not going to get good time, you're not going to get credit, you're not going to get any of these things. And 5 years later, you're going to have a federal conviction on your record, and it's not going to go away. So, those are some of the issues I want to address. If you have questions, concerns, things like that, me and Paul always try to stick around for a couple hours, answer questions. You can always call us at the office as well. But stay safe, stay out of trouble, and I would really prefer to see you all here than have to see any of you in my office if at all possible. Thank you.
Get up here, Russ Bell. Go around, you get the right time to leave in the skill. Huh? Everything's happening. He's like, oh, man, sure. Anyway, calm down. But I got great volunteers.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Russ Belville. I am NORML's National Outreach Coordinator, which means I coordinate the 95 state, local, college, and international chapters of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. I also do the chapter outreach, which is what all this is going on right here. We're on the internet right now, live. Yeah. There are over 200 people all across the country listening and watching this meeting going, are you kidding? They're giving away free marijuana? It's literally blowing their minds. And if you want to catch up on all the latest news and interviews, and we talk to Keith, we talk to everybody on our show is on every weekday, 1 o'clock Pacific, which is here, right? Pacific. Yeah. 1 o'clock every weekday at live.normal.org. No W's, no A's. Live.normal.org. It's a 1-hour talk show. We play music. We play called Total Tunes. They're kind of 420 friendly music. You'll really dig it. So now that I got all the promotional stuff out of the way, I just want to reiterate a concept that's been going on here on the stage a whole bunch. Medical marijuana is a beautiful thing. You're all medical marijuana patients. You have the highest statutory limits for possession of any state. 24 ounces of medicine, 24 plants. Now, there are a few localities in California that allow 72 plants and 3 pounds. It's kind of nice. But statewide, we've got it good here. We got it really good. But medical marijuana is just the first step. We have to move on to full legalization, or your folks, your rights, are going to continue to get trampled. We're going to continue to see the sheriffs in these different counties that don't like medical marijuana abusing your privacy rights. Here's another thing to think about. How many of you like to go on vacation? Everybody likes to go on vacation, right? Go take a road trip, go fly somewhere. You can't do that. You're a medical marijuana patient. You can't leave the borders of Oregon with your card because your card is worthless everywhere except Michigan, Montana, and Rhode Island. Those are the only 3 states that have what we call reciprocity, which means they will accept anybody's medical marijuana card. But how are you supposed to get to Montana, Michigan, or Rhode Island. If you drive, you're going to drive through Idaho. I'm from Idaho. Don't drive through Idaho. Let me tell you a story about Idaho. I just reported on this in the Stash this week. Young woman, 35-year-old disabled woman, caught in Fremont County, Idaho. It was just about outside of where the Yellowstone Park is. It's the kind of corner there of Idaho. Caught in Idaho with a little bit of baggie of weed and a pipe. And so she turns to the cop and says, "But I'm a medical marijuana patient. I'm from California. Here's my paperwork." And the cop said, "Oh, that's helpful. That'll help me write your name down on this arrest certificate. Thank you very much." She was arrested. She got 120 days in jail. Now 115 suspended, so she only actually did 5 days in the can, but still. 5 days in the can for a disabled person with no medicine? Because believe me, they're not going to let you take the weed into the Idaho jail. Okay? 5 days in jail. $800 fine, and the car she was driving in, she happened to have $513 in cash. The cash and the car are now subject to a civil asset forfeiture proceeding, so she's going to lose her car and that $513 as well. Problem was, it wasn't her car. She was borrowing a car. So she just lost somebody else's car in the state of Idaho because she thought, well, I'm a medical marijuana patient. I'm safe. No, you're not. You're only safe here in the state of Oregon. You can't drive out of the state. You can't drive across the interstate bridge to Vancouver without being a criminal if you've got your medicine on you. Which blows my mind because Oregon, you can have 24 ounces of medicine. Washington, you can have 24 ounces of medicine. Oregon, they cover the big 8 conditions: cancer, glaucoma, HIV, chronic pain, chronic nausea, cachexia, and 2 others that I can't recall off the top of my head. Spasms, thank you, and thank you, whatever. But the big 8. Oregon covers the big 8. Washington covers the big 8. A lot of you go to a medical marijuana clinic and you see Dr. So-and-so. Dr. So-and-so also works in Washington and gives people medical marijuana recommendations to 2 states whose medical marijuana laws are nearly identical. But if a Vancouver patient crosses into Portland or a Portland patient crosses into Vancouver, we now have 2 criminals. So don't rest on medical marijuana. We can tell you story after story of people losing their kids, losing their housing, losing their job. In no medical marijuana state is any patient's job protected. The boss can say, take a P test, if you fail it, you're out of here. And in no state can they have that protection. Now, there's a few of the newer states, as they come up, they're starting to write that into their bills, and that's a good thing. But we don't have it here in Oregon. We don't have it anywhere here in the Pacific Northwest. So your job's at risk, your kids are at risk, your home's at risk, and your life is at risk. Medical marijuana can kill you. I know you're saying, no, marijuana never killed anyone. Yeah, marijuana kills people. A man by the name of Tim Guerin, Seattle, Washington, in desperately need of a liver transplant. When they find out he's a medical marijuana patient, they kick him off the transplant list and say, well, if you can be sober for 6 months, you can have your liver. The doctors gave the guy 2 weeks to live. He died before he ever got that liver transplant. One of our patients right here, a good guy who's going to be engineering the show with me, he needs a kidney transplant. Same sort of deal. Oh, well, you're a substance abuser. You're using that wacky tobacco. You're a substance abuser. You can't have your kidney transplant. So your medical marijuana can actually kill you. You may actually have to decide between, should I take a bunch of pharmaceuticals that hurt my organs and my body and leave me in a drug-induced stupor so that maybe perhaps I can get my transplant, or can I have safe, effective, cheap, usable herb that doesn't hurt my kidneys, doesn't hurt my liver, and gives me a quality of life? So just remember, medical marijuana is a good step, but it's only a step. Until we have full legalization for everyone, there will be no freedom for anyone. Thank you, everybody. We'll get questions later.
Thank you for joining me here at Normal Show Live. Extended version of the show here by about 4 minutes so that we can catch up on that video. We'll be playing more clips from that meeting on future episodes, and I may just post the entire meeting up on YouTube, so stay tuned for that. Follow me on Twitter at Radical Russ. Check out our blog, stash.normal.org. Send me an email, stash@normal.org. And until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
You plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow
Coming up on tomorrow's show, we will get to your California marijuana report and more. Stick around every day, 1 p.m. Pacific, Normal Show Live.
We love the earth.
This is Normal Show Live, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Take it out one more time. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth.